Good evening, everybody. I trust we are all doing fine on this rainy Sunday here in the UK. Looks like we've got the usual crowd, plus a few names I don't recognise, so hello to all the newcomers. Me too, Festus, me too. So, as always, we will start by just having a look at what I've been up to for the past couple of days. Well, since Wednesday, really. So the first thing is I have finished the ceiling panels, or rather the design of the ceiling panels. So you can see we've got the actual grille in place now, and I found a better plugin for doing arrays in SketchUp, so we can now easily follow curves with geometry to make things like this easier. Ooh, thank you, Delta. Yes, the bed fund is coming along, and I've also started work on that, which I shall show you in a minute. I finalised the geometry for the LED strips. This one's got a bit of a stray edge, which I need to re-import. But the curve and everything's all been done now, all the attachment points. I've raised the panels up by about 2 inches so they're closer to the ceiling, because we had a bit of a meaningless cavity there. And I have raised the tops of the wall panels up to meet the grille, so you can see where we've got the and there's cables and stuff as well. So where the panel meets the metalwork, the panel on the opposing side is exactly the same height, just to keep them consistent, and they have the same curvature on each side as well. And yes, as someone just pointed out, I have also added handrail attachment points. I did just go with a solid bar in the end rather than brackets. The brackets were just too bitty, and having the brackets spaced along the length of the handrail just looked really flimsy. Having a solid bar just feels more sturdy, if that makes sense. And they're also raised to the right height, and they stick out the right amount. As you can see, that the height has changed here, and they also stick out further. So I just need to re-export these ones with the same geometry for there. Yeah, you're right, they do look like dust catchers. But luckily we've got gaps, so we can just run a cloth along it. That's a job for the stewards department. I also did these panels here, same design. For some reason these ones don't light up in Engine, and I've spent hours trying to figure out why. In the game they light up fine, they work perfectly, but in the editor, even though these panels and these panels are using the exact same class, they're both children of the exact same class, and yet these ones just will not apply what is the custom data on the mesh. So if we go to the ceiling geometry and just type in data, so we've got custom primitive data on these, and if we crank up some of these values like that, you can see that we can force it to turn the lights on, but if we go with the default, then they turn off, and it's configured exactly the same as this one. So you can see here that we've got nothing specified, because there's a script that builds the values based on the data that you enter for each light. So I don't know why it's not doing it, but it's not the end of the world, because it does work in game when you're playing. Yeah, I don't think it's a too many lights thing. It's more, I think what's happened is this particular blueprint is corrupt. Not corrupt in the sense that it doesn't work, but corrupt in the sense that it's not passing some values over. Because again, they all inherit from the same class, so it's Unreal being Unreal. But yeah, so this is the, well, this, you can see here, this is the old design that we had before. We had more tightly packed, low poly grills and no separation between the panels. And now we've got something which is, what I hope is a lot more realistic looking. And again, we have things like cables and things plugging into other things, and actually showing some power being transferred around. I also rescaled these bits here properly so they actually meet where they're supposed to meet. So there's like a midpoint that runs through the middle there, and they now line up with that midpoint. I haven't smoothed off these pieces yet, but you can see that we now have actual endpoints on the handrails, so they just need to meet up with that side, and that's essentially the last step before running the glass into it. What else? Yeah, I think that's the gist of it really. I've just been polishing and tidying and generally just giving the geometry its kind of final detail pass, just so that we are settled and final on how we want these panels to look. Because now that that's been done, it's just a case of churning these out and like a production line all across the ship for every panel. All nice and easy and quick. Because I guess it's a bit like, if you look at the way Elon talks about SpaceX and the manufacturing of rockets, building a prototype is difficult and it takes a long time to build one. But the real challenge beyond that is making a production line. But once you've got your design set and you've got your processes and techniques aligned for creating the final product, it's much easier to create a production line. Oh, sorry. Something's caught my throat tonight. Yes, best part is no part, absolutely. And thank you, Firstus, for adding for the bed fund. And yeah, actually on that note, layers, that one. I have, or rather I did before it crashed. Oh, that one's good. I have removed the beds from the VIP quarters, and they are ready for their replacement beds. So we'll have some nice, temporary, but nice beds going in there very, very, very soon. So that's what I've been up to. Tidying, polishing, finalizing, and just generally adding detail to stuff. Yeah, I will be getting on with the bed, I promise. Don't worry, Cloud. I'll just pick one up. It's only going to be temporary anyway. Obviously, when we do the final design on the VIP quarters, we're going to have a built-in unit, so we'll have some kind of wooden surround around where the bed goes, with like shelves and cupboards and things. And then I want that to come out sort of organically on like a wooden base that comes around like this. Actually, why don't I draw it? Yeah, so if you imagine like a piece of wood that comes around like that. It's really bad mouse drawing skills. And then you'll have your mattress in the middle, rather, like that. And then we'll have shelves either side, some kind of feature thing there, maybe a picture or more shelves. And then sort of maybe have so like strip lights and things underneath. So you have like sort of ambient lighting underneath the wooden plinth. So it kind of looks like almost like a floating wooden shelf with kind of lights underneath. It should look like really like luxury yacht, top of the line, like the ultimate luxury bedroom. That's the plan anyway. But for now, I'll just put a bed asset in there, just so we've got something to be going on with. Yeah, I like the bridge corridor. It's kind of molded organic wood. Yeah, Nassie, so it depends on the design of the ship, really. Obviously, the core of this ship is circular, which was done for efficiency's sake. So when you're building 200 crew quarters, having them circular makes it easy to pack them all in. Plus, you can just copy paste them in a circle. So I don't want future ships to just be straight rectangles. I like this, you know, where we've got interesting geometry in the corridors. That's something I want to carry forward for sure. Right then. So what are we doing? I quite like the idea each week, or each stream rather, of putting it to a poll and letting you guys decide what we do. Yeah, so let's do that. I shall just create a poll. Bear with me. Oh, what? There's a text limit? Ugh. dare it force me to be less verbose. Okay, the poll is ready. Okay, looks like we've got two clear favourites. Sure, Aaron, that's easy enough to add. I just put a temporary light in there. I don't mind what I do, Paul. I'm happy to do anything, really. There's so much that needs doing, it doesn't really matter what order I do it in. I do have a drink, thank you. Yeah, apologies for the coughing. For some reason, something's caught my throat this evening. Dodgy coloured light on the bridge. I wasn't aware of a dodgy coloured light. Is it one of these ones above here? I'll have a look next time I do an in-game check. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'll do that. Well, looks like the VIP quarters is the clear winner, so we shall do some work on that this evening. And if we have some time, we'll see if we can get some of the cat done as well. But Aaron pointed out the lack of a light in here, so it's actually a very simple job to fix that. So let's go ahead and make sure we're on the right level. Use one of those lights, copy it across. Right, we want to show the panel. It's a bit softer, so 10, 20, yeah, we'll go with 50. Actually, if I put that in the middle there, we have another one over here. Should I put it there, maybe? Works. That'll do for now, I reckon, just to give a little bit of light in there, better than no light at all. Maybe move that one a bit closer that way. That'll do. Just realised the poll's covering up all the chat for me. Hang on, let me get rid of that. Inbox 5645. How is your yard project going? Thank you. Building starts on the 30th of this month. What are we on today? So today we're on the 8th. So just a couple of weeks to go. Well, actually, no, it doesn't start on the 30th. Sorry. They've delayed it to the second week of October. Typical contractors, always pushing timescales back. But we've got everyone lined up. We've got all the door measurements done, all the cladding materials sorted. We had to uprate the fire protection on the cladding because it needs an hour and a half burn through time to meet building regulations. So there's a few things that we had to tweak. But it's all sorted and ready to go. We're literally just waiting for them to come in and start building the thing. So the walls, Fredashay. So in here, it's going to be, I guess it's going to be built in sections. So each one of these areas needs to be kind of physically isolated in terms of the paneling. And then it's all going to be kind of proprietary. So like on here, I want to embed this a bit. So we've got some shelving embedded into the wall panel. So these will be hollowed out. And on here, I want to have a sofa that's actually built in as part of the wall panel. So that will mould out and form a sofa. So there's going to be lots of aspects of paneling, which is actually going to form the actual features of the room. Like some shelves here. So it'd be nice if this section here formed like a few shelves to put some knickknacks on. Yes, you'll be able to remove the panels. So obviously removing panels is going to be how you get to stuff. So if you want to get to the cabling behind here, you'll need to pull the panel off and then you can access whatever happens to be running behind it. The insulation won't be removable, that's just stuck to the framework. It's all sort of glued on, so you won't be able to remove that. But yes, and all this paneling can break as well, so if the ship's receiving damage, then all of this can receive damage. And that's the whole point of doing it separately. So the reason we've got separate floor tiles and separate pieces everywhere is so that that can break and shatter, and then it will just, you'll have just bits of plastic hanging off of the screw holes. VIP as in they are staterooms. So obviously the captain, the XO, probably some of the other senior staff as well, will have these quarters as their crew quarters, and will reserve maybe 2 for guests. Thank you, Fredashay. Honestly, I'm happy to do things in any order, and I like engaging with the community for this as well. Something we did probably about a year ago now is we actually let the Discord community choose the content for the upcoming patch. So obviously we have a to-do list of things that need doing. So if I say, right, here's a list of 3 things or 3 directions that we could go in, which one does the community want most? And then we just let the community pick, because ultimately all 3 things need doing anyway, so it doesn't really affect us what order we do them in. So I'd rather do it in the order that the community wants rather than just me arbitrarily deciding what to do. We're going to use the same approach for our bug reporting system as well. So when we actually build the website properly, we're going to roll the bug ticketing system into the website, and we're going to have a voting system whereby the community can vote on which bugs they care about the most. So when it comes to prioritizing the order that we tackle bugs, obviously if there are critical game-breaking things, we'll always fix those first. But that aside, we want the community to let us know what bugs they care about being fixed the most, and we'll do it in that order rather than cherry picking the easy stuff. Exactly, Cloud. That's a good way of parenting, actually. It's like you offer the child like a choice of things that you're okay with them having, so it doesn't matter which one they pick. Yeah, exactly like that. Doing this one, or one over here. I don't think any of the others have lights, actually. No, they don't. Hold up. They should all be identical because they're missing welding there, but I don't think this panel's coming through anywhere unless I've missed something. Well, I'm going to be checking them all as I add panels anyway, so if there is anything sticking through where it shouldn't be, then we will fix that. Thank you, Mr. Brian. It does have little brushes, look, teeny brushes. To be fair, I made this about 4 years ago, so it's a very poor design. Right, let's get on with some stuff, shall we? Yeah, it's literally just like 4 tiny little sticks that spin around rather than anything that's modelled nicely. So going to need a door panel there, and we'll have corner pieces there. I'll probably join these up rather than having a gap down them there. These ones should already be spaced, so that's alright. The framework to build in there. I suppose the easiest way to approach this is probably do this one first. Yeah, because then we can just experiment with the shelf design for that. Which, if it looks good, I might steal and put here as well. So the entrance to the VIP lounge is easier to see on this one. I like the idea of having some embedded shelving in these panels here on both sides. So as you're entering into the VIP lounge, there's stuff on shelves, make it more of a kind of a feature entrance. Little models of ships and things. Similar here, some kind of display thing. Maybe some like a coat hook over here or something like that. So I think these are old designs, they are, so I shall steal the new ones. Actually, I'll steal the whole thing. Sounds good, Marta. We have absolutely no problem with people using anything from the game for non-commercial purposes. Yeah, the VIP quarters definitely has a separate bedroom with a door and without a window. Yeah, the character creator is going to be completely replaced. Once we have our character person found and employed, then one of the first things they'll be doing is completely ripping out the existing character, completely rebuilding the character creator and just making it more AAA overall. I think our player character is probably one of our weakest links right now, so it will be good to get that replaced. Thanks, James. That's appreciated. What's wrong with the elevator, Whopper? I wasn't aware it was broken. Surely you only get stuck between the doors if you purposefully stand between the doors. Yeah, Nassie, the term AAA is an interesting one. Like, what we're doing, I suppose I would like to describe as AA. Even though it is just me on my lonesome right now. Obviously we are recruiting, so I'd like to think of it as AA more than just a typical indie. I mean, a typical indie tends to be, well, very much what I have been for the past 3 years, which is just a guy in his bedroom doing the best he can. And I think once you start building a studio and taking people on, you're kind of more into the AA territory. Oh, thanks, Legion. Yeah, I'll look into that. Yeah, Double D is more Claire's territory. But yeah, when I say AAA quality in terms of a system, AAA developers tend to be, the most talented people in the industry. It's not their fault that the thing they might be working on gets ruined by investors or publishers or any other political thing going on in the background. In terms of their raw talents, there's a reason that those people come with the highest price tag. It's because they are extremely talented people. Yeah, regarding that, so we can remove this much of a gap. So basically there to there, so that's 12.5 centimeters. What's that? That's about 8 inches, something like that. So where you've got the gap here, now obviously this gap you can't do anything about because that is the wall. So that's literally the outside of the physical framework. But there is this additional gap here, where there's a gap between the lift shaft and the actual structural wall of the ship, and it doesn't need to be. So this additional gap here is kind of pointless. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten off this edge, tie it straight into the framework there, move the lift 8 inches closer, and then that will reduce the gap to about 20 centimeters, I think. So it will be from, if we go for the inner door cavity, so it will be from here to, so there's that wall, so it will be to there, way above. Yeah, so it'll be about, well, exactly 15 centimeters. What's that in inches? So that's just shy of 6 inches. So you'll have a 6-inch gap between doors rather than what is a much bigger gap. So what's that now? That's double that, so it's about a 12-inch gap. So yeah, so we can cut that gap in half. Oh yeah, the doors won't close if people are there. The same as the other doors on the ship. So if you look at how the doors in engineering work, in fact, why don't we have a quick look? I'll check out that light on the bridge while I'm at it. Oh, I see. Right, so what that is, basically well, the way I've written the system is that the lighting panel on the wall kind of connects wirelessly to all the lights, so you need to tell the panel which lights it is controlling. So I've obviously missed one, so that's the one above the left-hand chair. That makes sense then. I don't want debugs on. Right, so this door here, for example, so all the doors on the ship are running the same code. So I could stand here forever and this door will never close till I step out of the collision zone and it can no longer see me. But you'll notice that if I try and run through it as it's closing, get the timing right, it won't close on me. Try and catch it, just missed it again. Yeah, like that. So it's actually impossible to have the door close on you because of the way I've written the detection code. Now the elevator door doesn't have that code on it, so it can just close on you. But yeah, so it should be physically impossible to get trapped in a door. Because what it's doing is it's actually, as soon as the door is open, it wants to close. So every second it says, right, can I close yet? Can I close yet? And what it's doing is every time it tries to close, before it tries, it runs a collision check to see whether or not there's any players or any NPCs or anything stood within range of itself. And if there is, then obviously that stops the door from closing. But you'll also see that mid-close, it will spring back open if a player enters that zone, because it's constantly checking for players. So yeah, that's exactly how the lift doors will work as well. Yeah, Tuesday. Right, so if I remember rightly, so all I have to do is simply add the lights to here. So I say I want that one. I don't know which one it just picked. Oh, it picked the balustrade. That's not what we wanted. So we need to turn off transparent selection. And we should be able to pick actor. Right, so that should fix that problem from happening now. Bug fixing on the fly. I think the handrail lighting on the bridge is it connected to the light switch? I don't think it is. I'd have to double check, but I don't think it is. I suppose technically it should be, because we do want that when you turn the lights off, you want those lights to go off as well. Now the question here is, do we want a super wide panel split into two, or do we want two separate bits of shelving? I'm kind of inclined to make it one large bit of shelving. Yeah, I like the idea of different lights having multiple switches. Being able to turn off, say, the ceiling lights, but leaving the edge lights on could be useful. Yeah, you can sort of tweak it for the desired ambience. Oh, that's interesting, Jamo. If you could point out which ones, then we can go and have a look at that. In fact, was going to say hit F1 in the demo and report it via that, but I suppose it really depends on where we're referring to it. I mean, there is no correct way of saying it, but we do want it to be consistent depending on where it's put. So yeah, I'm thinking how I would refer to it in a sentence. So I would probably say something like, there's a ceiling panel broken on B deck. I'd probably say it that way round rather than deck B. So I can't think of a situation where I would say deck B specifically. Nate, yeah, we have had some discussions about how to handle things like wheelchairs. The lore of the game is that it's set 200 years, a little bit more actually than 200 years. So it's set in 2261, and robotics are sophisticated enough now, even that with the right neural interface, we could easily have perfectly workable robotic limbs, kind of Star Wars style. So in the lore of the game, things like physical disabilities are kind of a non-issue, because rather than a wheelchair, you can just have a prosthetic, which works just as good as a standard limb, because robotics are 200 years beyond where they are today, and neural interfaces are just as advanced. Because someone was asking a while back whether or not we could put wheelchairs in the game, and that's kind of what spawned the conversation. And ultimately, wheelchairs are very old technology in 2261, and kind of redundant because of robotics and neural interfaces. So it's not something that would be used in the game world. But the ability to have robotic limbs and things in the character creator is something we want to add. So someone who is wheelchair bound in real life, they can choose to have prosthetic limbs within the game. Yeah, Pike's beeping chair didn't really make much sense in the Star Trek even universe. Wow. I just referred to that as Star Wars. I mean, that's like instant nerd cancelling, isn't it? But yeah, you'd think, with the technology as it exists in Star Trek, Pike wouldn't need a beepy chair. Right, if we start the shelving unit at 100 centimeters, so a meter off the ground. Copy that out. Copy that up 100. That would be quite funny, Delta, if there was an admin command that made all the bolts fall out. Can you even imagine how many there are across the whole ship? There must be tens of thousands. I'll have to find a way of counting them. the bigger question is, are they self-sealing? That's not too bad, I reckon. So I think the way I'll handle this is I'll do an inverse panel, so we can just mirror one side to the other, which keeps the panel size reasonable, and gives us a wider shelf space. Hey Champ, welcome back. We're still plodding along as we always do. Stick them up there somewhere for now. This one's going to stay down there. And then that's going to need chopping. Oh, hello Alfie, welcome to the stream. It's true, without you guys here keeping me honest, I'd just be browsing cat videos. Sounds good. Enjoyable as always, thank you. I do genuinely enjoy these streams. I was nervous when I first started doing them because it's always a challenge to know what to say and to know what to work on, and especially if I'm doing something which is kind of computationally intense in that I have to think about it a lot. I kind of feel very self-conscious if I'm just sat here scratching my head over something, looking like an absolute moron. But I've just accepted it now. I just happily look like a moron. Why break the habit of a lifetime? Yeah, I think there's a fine line between soothing and boring. Hopefully I'm on the right side of that line. So our maximum shelf depth is 35. In fact, I think I might just go ahead and use the full depth for that. May as well. Which means that's going to need some adjustment. It won't have doors, but it will have a little balustrade thing. Yeah, to be honest, a lot of this is just me thinking out loud, because, geometry. Like right now, I know in my head what I want this to look like. Now it's a case of kind of making that work. To be honest, I'm kind of regretting extruding that because it's going to get in my way. This is that all part of the same wall? Oh wow! Okay, yeah, I really regret extruding that. Hang on, let's Control Z that a lot. Right, so we need to give this a nice rounded edge, just to make it look a bit nice. Let's make it bigger than that, maybe 20. Let's go with 20. Way too many edges. Yeah, the best bit about talking to yourself is when you start talking back. That's when you really worry. This is actually a conversation that I've had with Claire a few times, because she describes having an inner dialogue, and we've looked up this whole concept of an inner dialogue. I don't have an inner dialogue at all. She'll actually hear a voice in her head speaking to her, and she'll have conversations with herself as an actual dialogue in her head. And that just seems so weird to me. I don't have that at all. There's nothing going on in my head. I mean, I think about stuff. I I can plan this, but I think in terms of geometry. I think in terms of concept. I guess my thought process is very abstract. I don't talk to myself. There isn't a conversation going on. I'm thinking about math, I'm thinking about angles, I'm thinking about colour schemes and designs. At no point is there a conversation happening. Which is very weird. Yeah, Jamo, I'm definitely conceptual. I literally I cannot comprehend having a voice inside my head that I talk to. That's just so weird. Yeah, so if I need to go to the store and get something, like let's say we run out of milk and I need to go and get milk, I will look at the lack of milk or the empty space where the milk should be, and I guess conceptually I just take that on board and think to myself, I'm going to go and get milk. I don't discuss it with myself. That the notion of just I'm going to go and get milk is just there. Yeah, I think that's the difference. I don't converse about it. It's I don't hear a voice in my head. Like, I don't hear myself saying, we need milk. I just think. And I guess the abstract concept of needing milk as a concept, it's there. It's like the concept of going to the store and buying milk conceptually is the same in any language. And if you prescribe to the idea of, let's say, psychic communication, so if someone can project the concept of going to the store and buying milk to another person, then they can communicate that concept non-verbally. And that works in any language, because the concept of doing a thing, or the concept of, say, an apple, that concept is the same regardless of language. And I guess that's how I think. I don't think in language, I think in concept. And Claire says I'm weird. Yeah, see, that was my argument with Claire, is that thinking in concept is a lot quicker than having a conversation with yourself. Yeah, that's ironic, Mr. Brian. Yes, Delta, absolutely. Gotta have those LED strips. Do we have some flipped normals, or is that just bad texture? It's just the texture. Okay. Shan't panic then. A mind's eye, that's an interesting one. I suppose so. I think the closest thing I can describe to what I do would be something I read or heard about Nikola Tesla once. And apparently Tesla used to conduct experiments and engineering things in his head way before ever committing it physically in terms of machinery or anything like that. So he'd always design things in his head first. So he would like literally test things in his head before building them. Like his knowledge of how things work was sufficient that he could do that. And I guess that's kind of how I work. I run through everything in my head before I ever like pick up the mouse and start working on it. I tend to think about things a lot. Usually whilst either sat on the toilet or in the shower. Shower thoughts are a real thing. That's an interesting idea, Aaron. I'm not sure we can go that far with it, but I will have a look. I mean, it wouldn't be difficult, I suppose, to just have a separate piece of geometry we could move up and down for a shelf. The problem is you then have to save that like individually for each crew quarters, and it gets kind of complicated. I'm a bit like that, Firstus, but I put it down to the fact I've got asthma. Yes, I was indeed the typical computer nerd with an asthma inhaler at school. Oh, thank you, BC5. I did actually take Claire out the other night to an Indian restaurant. Yeah, I got a lot of intersecting faces usually. To be honest, I use this as a tool to let me know that those two faces are exactly aligned. Because if we don't have Z fighting, then something's gone wrong. Or something's misaligned. So what I want to do in here then is I need to bring that forward about an inch. And that becomes our shelf space. And then we need both shelves and lighting in there. So, how many shelves is the question? I'm thinking 2. And that gives us about 35 centimeters of clearance per shelf. Thank you, Delta. You do realise she's going to spend that on chocolate. Oh, actually, I can do the do the axes there. Doesn't need to be over there. Just wondering actually whether or not we mould these in. Let's try something a minute. Get rid of some of this unnecessary geometry. So I do want to have a join down the middle, because that visually sells the fact this is actually two separate panels. But at the same time, we don't want it to be a big join, so I think if we get rid of that face for a minute. Yeah, that needs to be way rounder. Within the bounds of science, maybe. I mean, there could be an alien artifact or something similar that produces such an effect. Yep, glass shelves, that could be an interesting idea. The shelves definitely need like a little picket fence along them or something, just to make sure things don't fall off. Do we want to round it back as well? Wow. Nailed it. What's going on there? Nope, nope, that's quite clearly worse. Aha. There's the problem. One benefit of using glass is that glass is transparent, so any light that we put on the top here can happily shine through. That is very much the idea, actually. I really wanted to capture a retro-futurism art style. Something like that, maybe. Of course, the shelving would have to be exported separately because nanite cannot do glass. But that's a problem for in a minute. You know what? I quite like that. Yeah, absolutely. So all of the staterooms will be identical in their layouts, and any fitted pieces like this will be consistent for all of them. The things which will be customizable are the things you put on the shelves, and things like maybe a rug on the floor or an old armchair. You are correct, CSI, yes. I reckon that could probably do with an additional 2 inches of breathing room around there. Yeah, it's more like it. We'll do a couple of spots on each side for the lighting, and then yeah, I think that's pretty good. I guess that's what this is. This would be the trophy wall. As you enter into the VIP quarters, you'll be greeted with trophies of conquests on the wall there. Opposite the kitchen, so you can look at all the dismembered heads and then fancy a snack, and pop to the kitchen. So we'll put a 50 by 50 corner curve in there, a standard 250 door panel there, another corner curve there. That arch needs to be pulled out a bit because there's not enough room for the brackets. So we'll have a slightly smaller arch there, and I guess also here as well because of the bracket distance. I know they really do. This area here is the galley kitchen, but the staterooms have their own little kitchenettes. So if the captain wants to entertain and cook in his own quarters, or at least have the chef come into his quarters to prepare food, then the kitchen exists for that purpose. The crew quarters will not have kitchens, or at least they'll have like a microwave and a kettle. That's about it. Organic 3D printers will produce any foodstuff you need for cooking purposes. I doubt the fundamental nature of microwave energy will change much in 200 years. Of course they don't line up. Why would they line up? Yeah, exactly that, Scorpio. I want them to have a hotel room feel to them. So, you know, a typical hotel room is going to have tea and coffee making facilities, potentially a microwave, a fridge, just the absolute basics, so that if you want a sandwich, you're not going to have to go all the way down to the mess hall just to make a sandwich. Yeah, the toilets will have actual plumbing. Yeah, I've actually already turned on the Steam achievement system, and we've added a few achievements. They just don't have icons or anything yet, so I need to make some icons for them, and then we can actually put them in the game. One of the first achievements is literally achieved the speed of light, so or broke at the speed of light. So as soon as you have travelled faster than 1c, you will get that achievement. And then another achievement will be to have left our sun's sphere of influence. Yeah, there's no reason why we can't physicalize achievements within the game and actually have them displayable somewhere. And even if it's just something you can just go and 3D print, and the option to 3D print that object doesn't appear until you have that achievement. But I'm a huge achievement collector in games, so we will definitely have achievements. Yeah, also the minibar, Scorpio. Don't forget the minibar. Yeah, I don't see why not, Jasmo. I mean, part of the way we're building the game with the iterative process is that once we've built the core system for running a 3D printer, from that point on, we can just add an infinite number of 3D printable objects. The more we build out our asset library, the more and more stuff you can print. Yeah, and a model of the ship, definitely. And historic ships too. So things like the space shuttle, a Saturn V rocket, anything which is public domain. I'm pretty sure all of the NASA rockets would be public domain. I think. To curve or not to curve? That is the question. Let's see how it looks with a curve. I think ultimately a curved top is probably the way to go. See, look, there's no Z fighting there, which means that's not aligned. Try harder. Not quite. There we go. Now it's aligned. That edge just not quite on there. That was clearly not 90 degrees. What on earth? I've run out of drink, so we can't. my coding music playlist is nothing like the lo-fi that's playing now. Generally I'll be listening to something like Korn or Avatar, or generally 90s alternative or metal, because the 90s was indeed the best era for music. Yes, many Easter eggs. Anything I can get away with as an Easter egg, we will have as an Easter egg. Or to put it a better way, anything that's not going to get us sued, we can have as an Easter egg. See, Elite has xenomorph eggs as a rare commodity, so I'm sure we can probably do some legally distinct alien eggs. We know where LV-426 is in the real world, so we can stick that in the game. Yeah, I think anything from Star Trek is going to be very much frowned upon, given that we are Star Trek adjacent. I think that might be seen as being a little bit too close for comfort, but I'm happy to ask the question. Yeah, the thing is, we'd love to do some kind of like homage to Trek, and indeed all the other sci-fis that we love. But IP holders tend to be viciously protective over their IPs, so yeah, there's a limited amount you can get away with. Although, oddly enough, I do have permission to put a DeLorean in the game, because I wrote to the CEO of the DeLorean company and just literally asked for permission to put a DeLorean on a shelf in the game somewhere, i.e. my crew quarters, and he said yeah, as long as it's not something you can drive around and actually use for gameplay, then I have permission to put a DeLorean on a shelf, so yay. And I'm sure there's probably a lot more examples of that where we can contact a company and say, would you mind if we did some product placement in the game? I've forgotten how high that needs to be. Just use the one outside as an example. No, the handrails are halfway through being updated, so some of them are correct and some of them are not currently, which is why you will see some of them are offset from one another. The handrail height is exactly a meter, if you're interested. As per UK building regs, which is kind of what I'm using as a design guide. Oh, you mean this one? Yes, it should be. So that should be 1 meter away from the carpet. So 102.5. Yeah, so so 102.5 to the frame, and we got an inch thick floor panel on top of that, which is your 2.5. So that's 100 centimeters exactly. So that's your 1 meter handrail height. Which means that shelf is also 1 meter from the ground, just for comparison purposes. I won't have a handrail on the inside of the rooms, just in the corridors. I think having it on the inside of the room is a bit overkill. Actually, on that note, I can go away from that particular template. Done that thing I always do, where I will adjust the template for a specific purpose and then forget to make a copy of it before I extrude all the faces. Curses. Yeah, we definitely want voice chat in the game, and proximity chat. I was checking out a game about a week or so ago. The name of the game now escapes me. I'm sure Claire can fill us in. Basically, it's one of those really silly games where you and a group of friends go down in a diving bell into like a horror underworldy area and use a video camera to record your adventure, and then you can watch it back later, and you get followers based on how good the video is that you recorded. It's a fun little game. Claire, can you remember the name? Because I can't remember the name. Thank you. Yes, content warning. It's a really fun little game. But one of the things that impressed me about it, one was the physics of the characters and how they kind of bumped off of each other, but also the audio for the voice chat and the way that it actually handles environmental echo really, really well. So, when you're in the diving bell, the voice chat's echoing properly like you're in the diving bell, and I really, really liked that, and I'd like to achieve the same. It was a lot more immersive than just having voice chat. It's funny you should mention that, Firstus. There is actually a very, very early version of the game. It's definitely as a direct download on the website. Hang on, bear with me a sec. Oh, no, that's Discord. We don't want that. Where am I? Here. Right, so... So the link I just posted in the chat, that is a build from January 2021, which has the old bridge and no galaxy whatsoever. It's a very, very, very early version of the game. There's no character or anything, you're just like the standard UE5 mannequin. UE4 mannequin, in fact, because it was built in UE4 back then. Funnily enough, it does actually have the original whip for the VIP courses, which we changed. But yeah, generally speaking, we will stick major releases as a beta branch, just to kind of retain them for posterity's reasons. The next public demo is waiting on the Sensors UI having its update. There's still a chunk of work which needs to be done there, because right now it's, well, I wouldn't call it playable. It has too many issues, so that needs fixing. And just basically getting BDEC polished, copy pasting all that geometry down through the ship to the other decks, and sorting out the stairs and things in engineering, because they're all kind of off from where they should be. It's difficult to do that actually, Cloud, because it depends on what we're working on. So yes, we could do, say, a picture of the bridge, but then I haven't been working on the bridge in many weeks. So at that point, you're not really seeing anything new. Yeah, and all the life generation code, which is, to be fair, mostly done. I just need to add the final few bits and pieces relating to planetary specifics, like ocean chemicals, atmosphere chemicals on terrestrial worlds, and what was the other thing? Oh, volcanicity. So there's a few bits and pieces which just need to be finished off, and then we can do proper life generation with actual scientific prerequisites. Yeah, I think the lift in the VIP lounge would have made an amazing fish tank. But alas, it needs to be a lift. It would be nice to have a fish tank in there, though. We will have living walls, though. That is one of the plans. There will be lots of fish tanks as well in the marine biology lab, also known as Claire's room. Yeah, the oceanography lab will have the ability to house fish you find along the way, so you'll be able to place an alien fish in a tank, and there it will stay. That's actually a really good idea, Cloud. Having like animated fish projected onto the glass, like transparent TV screens. So as you're going up the lift, it looks like you're going up through a fish tank. That could actually be really, really cool. Not quite sure how I would accomplish that, but it's a very cool idea. Yes, Aaron, we do, because given that there's more space between B and A deck than there is for the rest of the ship. Sorry, losing my voice again. B-deck top. Some of that needs cut through, but basically you've got all this space to work with. If we turn off that, I'm going to show you how much ceiling height we've got. So there's actually a significant amount of ceiling above the B-deck quarters. It tapers down towards the edge, but yeah, we do have scope for some quite tall ceiling cavities. Yeah, funnily enough, that's actually why I increased the space between decks. It's now, you can see here, this is the between deck cavity, which is exactly 1 meter. And that cavity used to only be half a meter, so it's literally half that height. And the HVAC conduit had to be quite squished as a result. So doubling the height between decks has just really opened up the amount of available space, which helps no end with routing all the infrastructure. Yeah, the bulk of the infrastructure is going to be routed through the corridor walls and corridor ceilings. So when it comes to the rooms themselves, it's going to be very little in the way of infrastructure in the ceiling cavities. So we can use that space for higher ceilings and, you know, high light fittings and that sort of thing. Yeah, I definitely like the idea of having smart glass. I mean, what I could do is, if I was to project a render target onto the tube, then I could have a 3D scene kind of hidden in a box somewhere with fish swimming around, and then we can literally render that to the render target, though that's probably going to be quite performance heavy. Yeah, the floor and the ceiling are essentially the same thing. Like, again, looking down here. So if we just have a look up here, you can see that these are the floor risers for the deck above, and yet immediately underneath the floor is the cavity for the deck below. So all the HVAC and things running through here is literally right below the floor for the deck above. And then the floor panels sit on top of these risers. And the reason these risers are here, and the reason we decided to add that additional height there, is so that we can run cables underneath if need be for things like lighting along the floor panels themselves. Because it would be nice to have floor panel lights, things like little evacuation chasers that pulse along the corridors, things like that. The vents, by the way, because I have been thinking about that, how to do those. So if we take where have we got a wall panel? So over here. So the ducting itself runs above. Do I have any here? No, I don't. So if you imagine the supply and the return HVAC ducting above the ceiling panels there, then what you'll have is you'll have the supply vents above this grill. So the reason this grill is here is so that the fresh air can filter down from above. And then there will be a little vent in the wall panel here which takes the foul air back up and through. So basically you've got this cycle happening where the fresh air comes down from above and then it's pulled out at floor level. So you'll have a piece of ducting that comes up through the wall cavity and then goes into the return pipe. Hey Jim, good to see you again. Okay, so my question now is where do I put the anchor points? So obviously with the corridors we've got these little anchor points at the center of each panel, and both the ceiling, the wall and the floor are all hooked up to the same anchor point in the world. And we're going to need something similar in here as well. Well, I can show you that in here actually. So if we turn off A deck, then we turn on A deck power. Sorry, not A deck power. B deck HVAC. B deck power is already on. So you can see the HVAC actually just appeared above the ceilings here. There should be some here, but it's not been put in yet. If I turn on the super light, let's get rid of the B deck sheet metal. So I need to cut the holes for this, but this is the HVAC run and the way it works. So you've got the main risers coming up from engineering. So in the reactor room, you've got these basically supply and return going all the way up. And on each deck, you've got per deck breakouts. And these are obviously from when the ceilings were a lot narrower, which is why they're so squished. Where at the ceiling level was kind of that height, which is why those poles are there. So you can see we've got two runs that are capped because it's split into quadrants. So this is the aft quadrant here. So you'll have supply air coming in one side and then venting out through the vents, and then the return air comes back along the other side and then back down. So each quadrant has two main trunk HVACs, and that will then branch off to wherever it needs to go. So we'll have a junction in there, and that will go across through to the VIP lounge. If we were to look at C deck rather, turn on that, turn off that, that. So here you can see where we have junctions. So again, you've got the two main risers coming up through engineering, and then you've got supply and the return, and you can see that the supply and the return are always separate. So in this instance, the supply is going through there and capped there, and then it's going around there, it's capped there. Obviously B deck's got bigger now, so it needs to be extended all the way across. But it's all been kind of mapped out and routed where it needs to go. What it doesn't have yet is the return conduit, which again is going to come up through the wall cavity here and then connect in, ready to be taken back down for processing and like CO2 removal and that sort of thing. Down to the scrubbers. I rarely turn on the HVAC level because it's been such a long time since I worked on it, and it always kind of boggles my mind just how complicated it is. And it is about to get more complicated as well, so it's going to be fun. There's a lot of levels turned on here we don't need. Let's get rid of some of these. Free up a bit of RAM. That's weird, that level's not even loaded. Why are they showing? Odd. Right, that's better. Yes, this floor does need lowering, so like out here, if I turn off the interior walls, you can see we've got all the risers and everything for the floor panels, and you know, the attachment bolts and things. So all of that will need doing in here as well. And just like out here, it will have bolts and things holding it on. Did I not add bolts to this? No, I didn't, did I? Well, that needs doing. It should be like this one. And what level is that on? And a couple of meshes here that are they're on the wrong level, so they're hidden right now. I'll figure that out and fix it later. Thanks, Nate. Yeah. We've been determined from the outset to just be ourselves, essentially. I mean, we are gamers turned developers, and you know, we don't want to forget where we came from. You are welcome. Right, so looking at the lines we have here. So as you can probably see, the radial layout of the VIP quarters is such that the corridor panels are kind of exactly equidistant between the two, so I can draw a line right through the middle of there. Probably use that as an anchor point for all of these rooms. Maybe, because I don't think they're quite exactly equal. So that's not going to work there. This one certainly will. Yes, Legion, exactly. Once I'm actually out in the dev shed and we've got all that done, I will probably stream more regularly. I'll have to see how that goes. But I genuinely enjoy streaming the development work. Although I will say, as Night Owls pointed out, as CSI has pointed out, it is slower working on stream. One, because I'm answering questions, but two, because I'm also only half concentrating on what I'm doing, because I'm kind of having to split my attention between the chat and the actual development work. So, especially if I'm doing complex coding jobs, where there's a lot of math involved, I'll not be able to get my head around something until I've turned the stream off and actually thought about it properly. Then it all kind of clicks. So, you know, there's definitely a downside to streaming in that regard. But I think, yeah, for a few hours in the evening, it's a great way of just connecting with the community and sharing ideas. Now, I've tried to get Claire to co-host many, many times, but I will keep trying. She's not keen on it. Really easy, Paul. So, looking at this, everything in these 6 segments will need to be modelled, but only these 6 segments. Everything in these 6 are just a mirror of these 6. So, I build it here, mirror it here, and then that's copy pasted all the way around. So really, I'm only doing this much work for the whole deck, which is nice, and that's why I've done it this way. It's why it's modular, so that I can copy paste all the way around. So I only need to make this bookshelf once. Knick-knack shelf, whatever you want to call it. Right. Let us export this. So we need that anchor point. Let's do some measuring a minute. Results of previous measurements, lots of lines everywhere. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of some of that because it's very much in my way. So there's the world origin, which is our 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And we want to measure down to the floor. Make ourselves a little marker. measure that out. So we've got ceiling height. I believe is there. Yep. That doesn't help, it's too low down. Let's raise that up a bit. It's more like it. Now, I did actually have a glass of my favourite Kraken Black Cherry rum with Dr. Pepper, but sadly it ran out about an hour ago. Everyone should peer pressure Claire into making me a cup of tea. Did I just say that? I didn't just say that. I did actually buy myself one of those as one of those 1 litre water bottles that has like 9 AM, 10 AM, 11 AM. You're supposed to like, drink that amount during the day. And then I put it in the dishwasher and it melted. So I need to buy another one. Yeah, remembering to put something in them is definitely the challenge. I was trying to work out then why this room is narrower than this room, but of course it's because we've got the alcove. The actual wall should be there specifically, so that explains the difference in width. In fact, there should be 610 to there. Yeah. So that means that this wall is exactly where it should be. I thought I'd made a bit of a boo-boo there, but I haven't. It's all good. Right, so if we make an anchor point there, then we'd also have an anchor point there. And then that anchor point would serve all the panels in this segment. And then of course we'd have a separate anchor point here for these ones. It does mean we'd have to actually export this panel as a separate object rather than mirroring this one, because the offset is different. Like here, obviously the anchor point's in the dead middle, so you could just mirror the panel, but you can't with this. But that's fine, I think we can live with that. Okay, anchor point made. And if you're wondering why I'm doing this, it is because in Unreal Engine, obviously you need an origin point for the physical mesh. And you also need a socket to plug it into so that you can place it in the world. And these little anchor points that I make become the actual socket in the game world. So it means that when this actor connects to this socket, it appears in the right location and the right rotation. Reason it doesn't take when you change the axes, and I haven't worked out what causes it. It's no biggie just to redo them, but why does it keep doing that? Right then, so we need a new wall panel actor, so this will be ring 1, B deck, wall panel, VIP quarters, shelf, main shelf left. Yeah, that'll do. To be honest, I could do with a room-based naming convention here. That sounds nice actually, Cloud. I went to a health spa thing with Claire probably like 4 or 5 years ago now. It was ages ago. And they had like Turkish steam rooms and all that sort of thing. But they had this like ice cold lemon water as something you could just help yourself to. And I drank loads of it. It was so nice. So yeah, I could definitely get behind that. Half the challenge here is remembering what these names actually represent. So you need to be unique objects. As do you. So that, yeah, so that's the same component. So that needs to be unique as there, make sure it saves it. Yep, and then that one as well. Good. Right, and the last thing we need to do is just set up the socket. Once auto save lets me, of course. Right. There are no sockets at all on this one yet, which is fine. We can just start adding some. So anchor 0, of course, is at the world origin, which we don't want it to be. What we need is that. So 668,740. So 668,740. That's over there, so I'm going to stick a minus in front of it. Maybe perhaps that one needs the minus. Yeah, it's going to need the minus. 1614479. actually a combination of positive and negative. Oh, now that is it. It's just all the way up there. And then that is a Z direction of 300. Distance rather. So it should be minus 300. Right, there we go. That's where we want it to be, and now it needs to face that way, so we just have to work out our rotation. It's a simple matter of finding the red direction, measuring the angles at 67.5, which is opposite to the way we want it, so we will just add 180 to that value, and there is our anchor. So now when we import the other meshes, they will connect to that anchor. Some of these other ones so we don't get confused. I sworn I had a ring 0 in here, but obviously not. Right, and then we want those ones there. So again, I'm going to have to re-import this one without the glass for nanite. I may just avoid the glass for the moment. If I just give that the wood texture for now. Why is it not finding that? So that's what it looks like with wooden shelves. It's about 80 meg CSI. I added the lighting to the dark room on ADEC. So if we bring in our new wall panels, that's the one I just coloured. Should snap into place. See, there's our little socket there. So we should have a corresponding socket on this one. It does require that. Where did it go? Oh, that's weird. I'll re-import that. I'll also put it on the right level. It's better at showing its anchor point now. Yep, hop into place. Yep, hop into place. So the red direction has to intersect, so that one needs to be the other way around. There we go. I need to re-import this as well without the wall. Oh yes, got us some snapping action here. It wasn't weird and then I made it weird. Hang on, let's see if I can do it with this one. Perfect. But rather shockingly, I actually used my finger in my cheek and just made a popping sound, and it was like 10 times louder than I expected it to be. Obviously, I am a walking sound effect generator. According to my kids, I also sound like one of the villagers from Minecraft. Because if I'm thinking about something, I'll go, "Her." It's similar, but the windows are on a curve, so it's a slightly different shape. How many polys? Wow. All of them. There are a lot of polys. Well, to put it into perspective, this one piece of framework is 250,000 faces, or 291k when triangulated. So that's a lot of polys. And that's just one tiny bit of framework. The whole ship, it's got to be multiple hundreds of millions. It's a lot, probably approaching billions. Obviously we use various techniques to make that renderable, but yeah, I think when you take everything into account, including, you know, like carpet, we're talking billions of polys. Okay, we should just see a hole appear where we want one. Absolutely, yes. Like, you know, just the attachment points with the welding and everything. Oh, it's using the wrong material. Oh, wait, this is the broken mesh that doesn't like nanite, isn't it? Yes, it is. Yeah, all the meshes apart from this one use nanite. That's better. Right, so if we get our ceilings back in, get some roof back on it, and turn off the super light, it's kind of more like what we'll be dealing with. Obviously, it requires much better GI. What I'll likely do here is take advantage of the ceiling cavity that you can't see and raise that light up in there to give a bit more headroom. So these rooms will feel quite tall because of the raised ceilings. And to be honest, I might just raise the ceilings regardless. Just literally lift the ceilings up, because there's nothing above them that's in the way. Yeah, I think I will. Won't make this feel quite so squished then. Now the big question, which I'm sure everyone wants to know, is can we put a pot plant on the shelf? Let's find out. Come with me, mug. You have a mission. Oh, no. Oh, it stole my mug. No! Thank you. Well, that went to plan. Okay, passes the mug test. What else can we put on it? Start with a smaller pot. Oh, no, that's gonna struggle. Oh no, perfect. You fall off. Thinking though, for like future purposes, like one shelf through there I think is going to be better than two. Because this plant isn't particularly big, and yeah, it's really not going to fit unless we jam it in there. Nailed it. Yeah, I could do, I suppose. We could have like a little things shelf. They don't need to be symmetrical. Claire will tell you that I'm always making things symmetrical. Yeah, so if we raise those ones up, or maybe, yeah, have the base for big objects, and then have shelves for smaller objects. Well, the thing is with making them movable is, one, you need to add controls for that, and that's going to be awkward depending on how we want to implement that. And the second thing is it needs to be saved. So you add a lot of complication by making them movable. Or, which is probably the better option, don't have them straight all the way across. Have like one there and one up there and one down there. So it's not quite so linear. Yeah, totally passes the pot plant test. So the other shelves will be here. My depth perception with this is awful. So yeah. Ooh. Do you not have collision? No, you don't, do you? Look at that. Can I just like barge that off? Oh no, it stops me. Yeah, I like the idea of having lots of different shelves within this unit. Yeah, the lack of collision is just when you re-import the mesh, because I've got generate collisions turned off. There's a bug where every time you re-import it, it deletes the collisions, or rather, as is the case with this one, it resets it to project default. So I've set that to complex collision as simple, and as soon as I re-import the mesh, it will reset this back to project default, which is annoying, because if I forget to put it back, then we lose collisions. But now the reason Nanite's not working is because this mesh originally had glass, and it doesn't have glass anymore. The glass has been removed, but because it did have glass, and you can't have Nanite with glass, it wouldn't work with Nanite. Like, see, Nanite is enabled, but as you can see from this, it's not doing the tessellation. And if you look at the Nanite triangles view, you can see that this mesh isn't rendering with Nanite, because it's bugged, basically. I need to delete the asset, re-import the mesh, and then it will work. But that does mean then repositioning the wall, so I shall do that at some point. It's not urgent for now, but yeah, it's clearly bugged, just needs replacing. So I'm thinking, which also justifies why we have two different shelves, is if we get rid of those, and then maybe this is going to be a bit of a pain. Right, let's just draw a face on there a minute. Just because the axes are all off because of where the mesh is anchored to, but I can give this object its own axes, so that's fine. So we want that to be reasonably thin. So either we do something like this and have big shelves on one side and little shelves on the other, or It'd be nice if we could kind of blend these in somehow. Yeah, I've got something in the back of my head. Here, let me see if I can find something. Thinking something like this. That could be a good desk actually for that room. It's a very kind of Star Sim style desk. And they've got our bridge benches. My god, they're stealing our assets. And our security desk. Yeah, I was just thinking something like this. Something kind of, again, retro futurism-y. It did have a hobbity feel to it. Autosave says no. I think I know what you're getting at, Triblade. I mean, we could have something like that. And it gives you like a big space in the middle for something huge. We're treating the ship like it's a hotel room, I guess. You know, in the hotel room you'll have fitted furniture, and you can't do anything about the fitted furniture, but you can decorate around it. So yeah, we're kind of taking a similar approach with this. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shoddy Wi-Fi as well. Thanks, Nibble. Appreciate it. Hopefully there will be a lot more game to enjoy soon. Right, so if that's the halfway point, then maybe something like that. Blended, obviously. Let's give that a try a sec. So that's the halfway point of this space here. So if we now round those off, 30, maybe with 10. Kind of like that. What we get here is we get 3 equal sized shelves here. Actually no we don't, do we? Because I've extruded that and we've lost a bit of space. So 27 there, 34 there, and 2 there. Right, so this one is 52 there, 57 there, so let's move that to the middle. Right, so we get 29 there, 34 there, 29 there. So you've got smaller spaces there, larger space there, and enough room for a few big things right in the middle. Yeah, the helm console will have the ability to set the set speed. For example, I want to be able to tool around at exactly 1 light year, so it's exactly at the speed of light. It's always fascinating to see how slow that is. That's good to know. Now obviously these panels join in the middle, so right, let's make that a component. That does not look altogether terrible. I'll give it a plant test in just a mo. And what I will do is I'll blend in the edges here so it's not a hard edge. It'll work better if it's a nice soft molded shape. Yep, I'm definitely liking that. So we should go from our plain and simple to a much nicer one. Ooh, yes. Definitely much nicer. Use our nanite fallback for our collisions for now. I'll make a custom collision mesh for this because we want it to fit the shelves nicely. Although that said, what does the fallback look like? Oh, that's not terrible, to be honest. Some funky collisions on the corners there, but at least the shelves are alright. You know, if anything, I think they could do with being a bit thicker. They still look a bit wimpy. What light is that reflecting? Yeah, I can certainly turn down the gloss. It could just be a case that this is because we're an editor, it's reflecting lights which wouldn't normally be rendered. I'll run it and see. Let's give it the plant pot test. Sylvie, yeah, everything I've done for the game has been in SketchUp. With the right plugins, you can do practically everything that you can do in Blender. You know, right down to molding and subdivision modeling. I think it's fair to say that SketchUp needs a bajillion plugins to bring it up to the kind of capabilities of Blender, but it's something I've just used over the years, so it's the tool I'm used to. Like, you know, all of this was done in SketchUp, including the nightmare panels here. Ah, actually, let's test it with the big plant. Thanks, appreciate it. Gift plant. Well, that was still struggling with the big one, but that'll do. Yeah, we are still reflecting that light, aren't we? It must be this one up here. Oh, thank you. Big news, everybody. Claire has just handed me a cup of tea. Yeah, finally, in her own words. This thing's quite tall, let's give that a try. Oh no, it's pushing it. I mean, that counts, doesn't it? Kind of fits. definitely fit here though. Just need to get just in, just almost, nearly. I just leave it like that. That works. Yeah, I think what I'll do is probably make the bottom shaft lower down and make the gaps here wider. I guess we don't know yet just how big things we're bringing up from planetary surfaces are going to be, so we need the shelves to fit the majority of the things that you bring up from surfaces. So, you know, if it's like some alien idol thing that you've just brought up, it needs to fit on the shelf. Yeah, that's true. With a taller ceiling, that makes it much easier. Yeah, this ceiling can raise, because this one's got space above it. Generally they can't, but B deck's unique, because on B deck we have much more clearance to A deck. I turn on the horribly garish torch. Oh. Somebody forgot to add collision to the stairs. Was it me? Would have been me. Again, this is another mesh which needs a custom collision mesh building for it. Right, I'm just going to curve off some of these edges and then I shall be calling it a night. Right, I'll put that panel in. Yeah, and then I'll call it a night because it has been almost 4 hours. Ah, thank you, yes. This is the upgraded staircase from the last one we did. So as you can see, it's much smoother and nicer. In fact, I can make it even smoother and nicer because I didn't do it with surface normals smoothed old up. I did it as a floor panel. Yeah, there we go. So something I need to do with the stairs actually is we've got like the lighting strip for the stairs, which on the previous model was part of the model, which we no longer want because we want each one of those to be an independent electrical device which can have its own damage and health and all those sort of things. So you can literally shoot out each step light separately. So that means they need inserting into this mesh. I just re-import that a sec. Should should have properly smoothed normals. And then just to absolutely ensure that that is properly done, we shall do face weighted normals. There we go. Now we've got much nicer model. Yeah, so once the lighting strips are put in their recesses, they're going to look really, really nice, especially with the carpet tread and everything. Now this is nanite tessellation. So this is basically tessellated geometry. Yeah, this is an example of what you can do with SketchUp, like if you throw a bunch of plugins at it. Yeah, if you turn off the tessellation, you lose, all of the lovely bumpy carpet. It's the same thing used in the wall panels as well, which you get here. So, well, actually, in all sorts of places. So the insulation is a tessellated material, as is the welding as well. So all the weld lines are tessellated too, so they're actually 3D. Do love me some tessellation. But yeah, so one of the jobs I'll do next is make that an actual physical light, and then it light up the stairs. What was I doing? Yeah, that wall. That thing I said that I always do earlier, I've done again. I took my template, modified my template, and then forgot to copy it, so I've just once again extruded my template without actually saving it. Yeah, I have definitely questioned myself and, asked the question, do we really need to build this thing so detailed? And yeah, basically the answer is yes. I wanted from the very beginning to build a real starship, built as if it was a real vessel, and that still is very much the goal here. So yes, this amount of crazy effort is needed. It does mean it takes longer, absolutely, but I think it's worth it in the long run. Actually, I don't really need to split up this template, do I? Why don't I just use the template? Would be the easier solution. So get rid of that. And use this. I need to do a bit of fixing and rounding on these edges there. I shall do that off stream, as well as softening the edges. I will also do the same with this, because obviously I need that groove down the middle. I don't want it to be quite as extreme as a gap as we got here. Maybe half that. And we don't need the handrail on this one. That's the world origin done. Then we group all that up, make it a component. Set the component world origin. Make sure it's all still there. Yep, okay. Right, so this one is VIP quarters, entrance, corner inner. This one would be corner outer. No, not that one. Oh, it didn't pop. That was disappointing. There we go. Okay, nice. So yeah, so this archway needs extending that way a bit, just to make room for another panel that wraps around there. I'm happy with those ones. So I believe, assuming this is actually centered, we should be able to mirror this. Yeah, we can. There we go. Perfectly aligned, and that one as well. So we'll be able to basically copy paste these now into all of the rooms. So every room can have its nice swishy entranceway. Yeah, then I'll raise that ceiling. Come up with some kind of ornate ceiling thing to go there. Yeah. Yeah, including the lighting as well. Yeah, so basically I want to make these like super luxurious quarters without overusing the detailing that we have out in the corridors. Obviously, we are taking those design elements, like with the same kickboard height at the floor bottoms and things, but see if I can make them a little bit more unique than the corridors. Although, to be fair, the corridors are quite plain. Yeah, absolutely tri-blade, yeah. Yeah, they'd have to crawl through the door, but they could definitely stand up. You're welcome, Firstus. Always good to have you on the stream. And thank you again for your support. It's very much appreciated. Alright then, I think that brings us nicely to a close. Just shy of 4 hours again tonight. I expect Claire is probably chomping at the bit to get to bed, so she'll be glad that I'm finished. Thank you once again, everyone. And you know what? I'm going to do it. Please like and subscribe. I never say that, but I'm going to say it. Please like and subscribe so we can help build this channel out a little bit. And yes, I shall see you on the very next year. Oh, thank you, Aaron. I was just about to say goodbye as well. Thank you, that's appreciated. Yes, I shall see you all on Wednesday's stream. Have a lovely first half of the week. Be safe, have fun. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.